Gardeners, this is Mrs. Wigand and I have my kids here to help me today. We are going to be making the pumpkin book, which is a little book, and then afterwards we'll be making our own growing pumpkin art. So let's go ahead and see what you need for today's project. You'll need these 2 pages. It says the pumpkin story. So let's see both pages. There we go. You'll need both pages. And then after we color and make that book, we're going to also make some pumpkin art. So it's 2 pieces of paper. They're stapled together. One is green and then the other one is orange. All right, boys and girls, the first thing I'm going to do when I am ready to start making the pumpkin story is I'm going to write my name. And I like my name to be somewhere I can see it right away. And we'll be reading this story, and once we cut it apart, it's going to be small. So I'm actually going to turn it on its side and write my name right here. There we go. Now I have to be careful that I don't color over this because I want to keep track of it. After we make our story, boys and girls, this book can go in your book box. So today I only need a few colors. Besides a few shades of green, you're going to need orange and yellow, and then having brown would be a good idea. Let me get out my brown crayon. There we go. So I have 5 colors. So I'm going to do my best job, and I'm going to color each picture. Pumpkins are going to be orange, flowers are going to be yellow, and the leaves are going to be green. The seed will be white. All right, boys and girls, I finished coloring my pumpkin story, and I colored it in realistic colors, like I talked to you about before. I used greens, yellow, brown, and orange. So now I'm just going to go ahead and follow the lines, and I'm going to cut across to make this into a book. So I'm going to do that one paper at a time. I'll take my scissors. There's always 2 fingers on the bottom and the thumb up top. So if you're cutting like this and your thumb is on the bottom, that's the wrong way. Flip it around. I will be using bigger scissors because I'm a bigger person. All the way from the top to the bottom. Oh, excuse me. All the way from the bottom to the top. Turn it on its side. Follow the line all the way across. Bottom to the top, all the way across. Same thing here. We're going to start at the bottom. We're going to go all the way across to the top. Turn it on its side. All right, now I've got all my pages and I need to put them in order. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, now this is where it gets tricky, 2, seed doesn't have a number, so you can give it a number. One is fun. One. And here's our cover. The cover should have her name on it. I have a little stapler nearby. If you have a parent or an adult to help you, they should help you to staple it together if you have a stapler. So now I have my book, The Pumpkin Story. Let's read it. My son Judah is going to help me with the reading.
The Pumpkin Story. Seed. Vine. Flower. Little pumpkin.
Ooh, you can't see it.
Big pumpkin. Jack-o'-lantern. Pumpkin pie.
That's our story today, The Pumpkin Story. A pumpkin going from a seed all the way to the end of our story where it becomes a jack-o'-lantern or a pumpkin pie, or maybe both. All right, so now that we've read our story, the pumpkin story, I'm going to make my own pumpkin. So you need an adult to help you to take off the staple right here. Since I am an adult, I'm going to take it apart. All right, so there should be 3 pieces of paper, 2 green and 1 orange. We're gonna go ahead and use our scissors. You're gonna use kid scissors. I'm gonna use adult scissors because I'm an adult. Your 2 fingers are always on the bottom. Let me get these kid scissors out. And your thumb's up top. If you're cutting and your thumb's on the bottom, that's the wrong way. Flip your hand over. Hold your paper with one hand, and we're going to go around the pumpkin, following the line. We always want to look at the paper when we're cutting, and be careful that your fingers never go in front of where you're cutting. It's always easier to turn your hand. Sorry, I said that the wrong way. It's always easier to turn your paper than it is your hand. So I turn the paper as I cut. This is the tricky part. These are the little bumps. The little bumps, you might have to cut in slower little bursts. All right, so there I've got my pumpkin. Recycle my scrap. The next part is the stem. And it's green because it's attached to a vine. It's still growing. When the pumpkin is cut from the vine, that's when the stem turns brown. The last part is you have this green piece of paper, and we are going to make our own leaves and vines. So when I think about how a pumpkin leaf looks, it is big and it has large, wavy edges. So I'm just going to make one. And then I'm going to make some fun, twisty vines. Now I need to cut this myself, so I'm just going to go ahead and make one like that. Can you see what I've done? I made one large wavy leaf and a vine. And I like that we didn't make these for you, boys and girls, but you're going to try to make it yourself. So now I'll follow what I drew. Boys and girls, at any point of this video, if you feel like I'm going too fast, you can always stop and pause the video and unpause it when you're ready to move on to the next step. These curvy leaves are tricky to cut. but I always turn the paper as I cut. Boys and girls, some of you are brand new to cutting and you might need an adult to help you just a little bit, but you should be doing most of the cutting yourself. So there I've got my pumpkin, the stem, and now the vine. We just need to go ahead and attach it with a little bit of glue. Now we need our pumpkin to stay together, so I'm actually going to use bottle glue. I'll turn over my pumpkin stem, and at the bottom of it, I'll do a few dots. 1, 2, 3. Dots, not a lot. And then I'm going to go ahead and put a little line of glue on the stem. And I'm actually going to tuck this behind my stem. Boys and girls, put this off to the side to dry, and don't forget to write your name on the back. Or maybe you could write it in the vine or in the leaf. I think that's what I'll do. All right. Boys and girls, put this in a very safe place because in a couple weeks we're going to turn our pumpkin that we grew into a jack-o'-lantern.